Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy. Um, so for tonight's video, I thought I'd talk about real quick the upcoming remake of Resident Evil 4. Before I get to that, though, I just want to say that I kind of want to backtrack on something I said in yesterday's video about um, Gotham Knights. I said that the Court of Owls. I said something to the effect that the Court of Owls didn't play too much of a prominent role. That's false. They did play a role. It's just they didn't come across. What I should have said was, in my opinion, at least, they didn't come across as menacing as they did in the comic books. Um, they were menacing, but I wouldn't say that it was quite on the same level as it was in the book. I mean, in the comics back in 2011 with the New 52, you know, they were scary, and they were a group of people that you did not want to mess with. So, if you were reading those books back then, you know what I'm talking about. Bruce had his hands full with the Court of Owls. So that's just wanted to get that out the way. Um, so yeah, so as many of you guys know, the remake to Resident Evil 4 is releasing in March, I believe, of next year. Uh, the original version of Resident Evil 4 is single handedly one of the greatest games of all time. Now, I know there's a lot of people that have problems with the direction that game took for the series. But, I think it was necessary. I think it was a necessary step for the series to evolve. You sometimes in a franchise you need that next step. You need to take that next step and evolve the franchise so we can succeed and sustain, interest from the fans. Um, and over the years, man, I mean, so the original RE4 came out 2005, and I remember back then the game was neck and neck, with God of War One for Game of the Year back then. I think RE4 won that award. Um, so yeah, it came out in 2005 on the GameCube, and then I mean it was ported to the PS2. I think a couple of times. I think it was ported twice, something like that. Um, but yeah, and then when it was ported to the PS2, I mean, I played that game to death. Okay, I played the PS2 version of RE4 to death. I love that version of Leon. The game is long, everything from the merchant to the enemies to upgrading the weapons, the weapon variety. Not too much. I mean, well, there was enemy variety. Um, and all those things really helped in in making that game a classic. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, that game is one of the greatest games of all time. And so now you have this remake coming up. And as some of you guys may or may not know, there was the remakes of RE2 and RE3. The remake for RE2 was 2019. The remake of 3 was 2020. I love the remake. I have some problems with it, but overall, I love the remake to Resident Evil 2. The original Resident Evil 2 on the N64 and the PlayStation 1. I mean, I played that game to death on those systems. So that when it came to the remake again, um, I wouldn't say I played the remake of RE2 to death, but I played it a lot. I love the remake of 2. Capcom really took their time. They really did their thing with that game. They knocked it out the park. They knocked it out the park with that game. However, they messed up with the remake of 3. Okay, Resident Evil 3, the remake. It wasn't a bad game. It took what was done in the remake of 2 and moved it over to 3. So you played as Jill Valentine and you had to escape Raccoon City and all that. But I'm sorry, the original version of 3 is still superior. It's still superior. There were way more locations. The game was a little bit longer on the PlayStation 1. I mean, the game length of RE3 was horrendously short. Horrendously short. I would say by the third or fourth time I was playing that game, I was like, yeah, I'm tired of this already. I'm tired of playing this game because the game is so short. I think the game is like maybe 2 hours and a half, something like that. Maybe 3 hours, 2 hours and 45, something like that. But I just remember the original version of RE3 was short, but what kind of helped it was uh again, there were just more locations. Like they took out the clock tower in the RE in the remake of 3. It's like, well, why are you gonna take out that classic location? You guys were taking your time with 2. I mean, I'm assuming you why couldn't Capcom take their time with 3? You could say, well, they did, but they felt like cutting out the clock tower would have helped with the pacing. I just that was by far single-handedly the most annoying thing about the remake of 3. The length. I mean, it was just a short ass game. So talking of taking what I just said about the remakes of 2 and 3. Now, when it comes to RE4, the remake, there's no doubt in my mind that the game is going to be, mechanically speaking, the game is going to be like 2 and 3, with maybe some, well, as you saw from the gameplay footage from E3 or whatever it was a couple of months ago when they showed the gameplay footage. They showed that there's going to be some gameplay mechanic enhancements that weren't there, obviously, in the original. So I don't have any worries about the gameplay for 4. They have to make that game long. And I know there's a lot of people out there who may be watching this that agree with me on that. The remake of RE4 needs to be a long game. You need to go on that reimagined journey with Leon. And it needs to be fun and it needs to be long. Okay. We're talking the game needs to be at least, in my opinion, 12 hours long, 10 to 12 hours long. Even if the game is 5 hours, that's going to be disappointing. The game needs to be 10 to 12 hours long. Okay, Capcom, they can't, it's been a while since the remake of 3. We're talking 2020, so this the remake of 4 is coming out next year. So we're talking 3 year break. We're talking a 3 year break for Capcom to get this right with this game. That's my biggest concern. The game needs to be long. Okay, when it comes to the boss battles, I'm sure with the graphic fidelity and the graphical enhancements, the boss battle should be epic. Especially, the boss battle with Del Lago on the lake. You know that. It's going to be interesting seeing how that boss battle plays out on the PS5. But yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's an exciting time. Also, I need to point out that I'm gonna play the original version of RE4, and I guess give you my thoughts on that game after I play it. About a week or two before the launch of the remake, um, because I think if the remake turns out to be good, then I'm not sure if I ever see myself going back to play the original because I played the original to death, and I'm only going to play it again before the launch of the remake to just to enjoy it, and go down memory lane and prepare myself for the next title. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Resident Evil 4 remake and what they need to focus on, what they need to do. Again, just make the game long. Don't make the game short. You're gonna piss a lot of people off, me especially. Anyway, Talk to you guys later.